Welcome back. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Ultra Glide 3 from Salomon. So before we jump into the features of the shoe, let's have a chat about who the shoe is designed for. This is a high-performance trail running shoe that's designed for a variety of different terrains, and it's ideal for anyone that's looking to do long-distance trail running where they will need a reliable, comfortable, cushioned but yet responsive trail running shoe. Okay, now let's talk about the facts and features of the shoe. And what we'll do is we'll talk about each feature and then we'll chat about how that relates to you as the end user so you know what it's doing for you and hopefully why you might want to go for the Ultra Glide 3. We'll start at the top and make our way down. There's a lot to go at. The first thing is that there is a nice mesh upper on the top part of the shoe. It's a relatively thick mesh, which is going to lend itself nicely to that sort of reliability and durability we were just discussing for those longer trail runs. But because it's a mesh, it's still going to give you a really good level of breathability, which is really important if you're going to be working hard or running in warm climates. You want to keep your feet nice and cool and nice and comfortable. So having a mesh upper is really nice, but it being a bit thicker is just going to improve that durability and that longevity for you as the end user. Around the front of the shoe, we've got some reinforcement. The first bit runs from sort of the midpoint of the shoe. You can see it runs back here as well, but sort of it's thickest around here and then runs around the front of the shoe to give you sort of a low level protection against scuffs and scrapes along the sides and across the front of the shoe. And then right towards the front, we've got sort of a reinforced rubber toe bumper. In terms of its thickness, it's probably not as thick as what you'd expect from sort of a trail hiking shoe, but it's easily thick enough to sort of deter any rocks if you were to kick them, both protecting you and your feet, but also protecting the shoe as well and lending itself nicely to that sort of longevity and durability. On the front, right at the front here on the toe, we also see that there's a bit of the sole unit coming up over the toe to give you even more protection as well. Making our way back, we've got our quick lace system from Salomon, a system that's been around now for a long time. It's a really nice, reliable system. You can get a really good fit with these laces and it's really easy to put them on and take them off as well. If you are to tighten them up to sort of your fit and you've got a load of excess lace, it's important to note that there is a small pocket on the tongue, so all of this can be tucked away really nicely. I've had a fair few pairs of Salomons, none of their trail running shoes, but a lot of their hiking shoes, and I've never personally had any experience of the lace sort of coming out of that pocket as long as it's put in there correctly. So a nice little system from Salomon, and it's good to know because it is hidden away there for you. On the tongue itself, we've got a gusseted tongue and then we've got loads and loads of padding, just adding to that sort of overall comfort of the shoe. That padding is run through the tongue, which has not only got a good level of padding, but it's also got some mesh over it to give some good ventilation and try and keep that part of your foot nice and cool. And then we've got a really nice amount of padding around the back part of the shoe, again, just adding to the overall comfort of the shoe. Another key component to what Salomon are trying to accomplish with the Ultra Glide 3. Then we've got our Endofit system, which is a really nice system by Salomon, which is designed to improve the fit of the shoe for you as the end user. It's important that you come into a shop and get these shoes fitted. They're still not going to fit everyone, but if you go into the shop and they fit really nicely, this system is only going to improve the fit. And what it does is it helps contour the upper part of the shoe to those important areas of your foot, just to help improve the fit overall. And a good fitting shoe is a comfortable shoe. And then we make our way down to probably the most important part of the shoe and the bit that's probably the most eye-catching on this colorway, which is the EVA midsole and then the sole unit as well. So starting with the midsole, we've got an energy foam system, which is going to be an incredibly well cushioned midsole, which is also going to give you a good level of propulsion when you then push off into your next stride. So it's going to give you a good energy return when it comes to sort of taking the next step or the next stride in your run. As you can see, it's a very thick piece of foam, which is giving you a really good level of comfort and cushioning. And it's also going to take the impact of your sort of harder strides, whether that's downhill or on the flat, and help sort of ease that and make it a more comfortable running experience. There's a 6mm drop on the shoe, which is a really nice balance between sort of cushioning on those downhill elements and then propulsion on those uphill stretches. And overall, a really nice foam system. It's going to be super interesting to see some of the long-term reviews on these shoes, but overall, really impressive. And then we come down to our sole unit, which is a contra grip sole unit, and actually doesn't look like anything else you've probably seen before. And there's a few reasons for this. The first is that it's a consistent piece of contra grip rubber, but also we've got lots of divots and concaves in the bottom of the shoe. We'll come back to that in just a second. First, we'll just talk about the lug pattern. So it's a 4mm lug, across the shoe. We've relatively sparsely populated at the rear part of the shoe, and that's partly because of these concaves. And then we've got a lot more lugs at the front of the shoe, and that's because when you're pushing off, you want as much grip at the front of the shoe as possible. In terms of the rubber itself, super duper grippy. When we got it out on the shop floor when it first arrived, everyone was really impressed by how sticky this rubber felt. It's going to give you good grip in both wet and dry conditions. But yeah, really, really impressed straight out of the box. You'll have to come into a store to feel it. But yeah, super, super impressive. And then we come back to these sort of concaves and divots, which is what makes the sole unit look quite so unique on this model. These are called relief spheres from Salomon. And what they're designed to do is relieve the impact on these particular places and sort of diffuse the pressure. So as you can see, the most obvious of which is probably on the heel here, an area that takes quite a hard strike when you're running fast or potentially going downhill, especially quite a steep hill. And what they've done is they've concaved that area, so almost exactly where your heel is going to sit in the shoe, so that when you land, the rubber on the side is going to take some of that impact out first, and then by the time it gets to the lower part, that impact is much less, and therefore it's relieving some of that pressure that you're putting onto those high demand areas of your foot. A really nice design, something that you don't see everywhere, and I think potentially could be a really nice feature to help carry you on those longer walks when your feet are going to get more fatigued, they are going to get more tired, and they are going to take a bit more of a beating. Those concaves are located at the rear here, middle of the foot, and then we've got a few around the front of the foot as well. But yeah, a really nice feature that Salomon's put into the shoe there. So overall, a really nice option for those of you that are looking for sort of a professional trail running shoe that's going to carry you on those much longer trail runs with a good degree of comfort, but also reliability and durability. And that's really where this shoe is sort of growing from. It's finding a balance between all of those features. Another thing just to touch on is going to be the weight of the shoe. This comes at 285 grams. So it's not the lightest shoe in the world, but it's also by far not the heaviest. And what Salomon are trying to do there with that weight is give you, they're not giving you the sort of the most stripped back shoe they can possibly give you. They're giving you a really nice feature rich shoe that's still going to be really reliable, durable, but it's also providing you with a good level of cushioning while still keeping that weight at a really nice position. So yeah, overall, really, really impressive. If you've got any questions about the Ultra Glide 3, leave it down in the comment section below. And just like always, if you could like and subscribe, it really does help us out. We'll see you next time.